So, you want to build a submarine in from the depths, but can't figure out something really important? Well, if you came here for some advice, I have you covered. Let's begin with the hull. In this example, I went with a realistic nuclear age style teardrop hull made out of rubber blocks. Rubber is the ideal choice of material for the outermost layer of a submarine's hull due to its reluctance to appear on active sonar, as well as greatly reducing the noise from its propellers, making the vessel almost undetectable to passive sonar. And by undetectable, I mean the passive sonar detection range on this thing is about 130 meters when running at a steady depth. I don't recommend using air pumps for the vessel's interior, since this would simply make it more difficult to keep the submarine submerged, which means less efficiency, and, if propellers are used, more noise. For propulsion, I recommend using small propellers for depth control, which don't make too much noise once the vessel is at a constant depth, and ion thrusters for everything else. You probably won't need to use roll thrusters, but don't be afraid to install them if you need to. Use of PIDs for pitch and yaw, as well as roll if applicable, is highly encouraged. Now, for the armament. Torpedoes are, of course, a must. You can install a vertical launch system if you want to give your submarine expanded anti-surface capability, or hit land targets if it is somehow able to see them, or is getting such targeting data from another vessel. To counter enemy torpedoes, your best bet is a decoy launcher, directed by an ACB to activate once an enemy torpedo has been detected. Since the rubber hull gives off such a poor sonar return, even torpedoes with signal processors will almost invariably fall for the decoy. If the enemy is using laser-guided torpedoes, how exactly is that supposed to work underwater? Then retroreflectors and smoke dispensers are your friend. Sensors, the eyes and literal ears of the submarine. In this regard, I recommend using passive sonar, since active will only give your location away to the enemy. Remember, for submarines, the name of the game is to be the last one to be heard. Finally, AI configuration. For submarines, the maneuver subroutine should be set to plain to allow the vessel to pitch for depth control, which is both more efficient and looks cool. In the Adjustments tab, vehicle type should, of course, be set to on water. With minimum altitude above water, set some number below maximum altitude, with both being negative values, and be careful about your minimum depth requirement slider so the AI's pathfinding doesn't go haywire. There's no reason to set this to any lower than 50. Feel free to adjust these however you'd like, and don't worry about the altitude above land slider. It's not like submarines can go onto land. Oh my god. Anyway, in the Behaviors tab, I recommend using the Point At setting. Set max pitch to target to 0 degrees, and left-right evasion is optional. Be sure to set combat altitude to a sufficient depth, as well as set altitude to altitude relative to sea level, as well as keep your combat distance higher than your submarine's detection range. As for the don't retreat when too close function, I'll leave that one up to you. Please feel free to leave a comment if you believe I missed anything.